Oh wait.
You.
What's up, Kel? I'll go. Now it's saying start. Now it's streaming. Are we live?
Let me see.
It says going for 6 seconds now. Oh,
Wait.
I see her face. I just don't know if it's showing on YouTube.
I don't see it on YouTube.
Because if so, this is what happened last time. Maybe I just need to unlist it.
No, you need to make it available to all.
So where is that?
Wait, so you can see us in the little image thing?
Yes, on YouTube. Yep.
So then I'm trying to see if I can get to the settings.
If you're logged into YouTube, you should be able to.
I don't see that you're doing one right now, though.
We're getting comments. We got Thomas.
Wait, what? Oh, yeah, I see it in there.
Oh, I see it.
I don't see it on my personal one, though.
Right. So is it?
Oh, there. It's live. You're good.
Nice. We're just delayed. All right. We're here. Fantabulous.
Oh, now I have the permission to end the stream.
Dom just ends it midway. Like, I don't know what happened.
Did we tweet it out?
We can here. Let me get the little link. Let's see if I can see it from my own YouTube channel. That way we.
I can see it.
That way we. Oh, I see it. Yes, we have 5 watching.
Nice.
What's up, viewers? Nice. All right, let me.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Wine Wednesday, fellas and ladies and gentlemen.
We got everybody here. The whole gang's here.
The whole gang's here.
Yeah, to quote SpongeBob.
Mr. iPhone in the flesh, SpongeBob SquarePants, Kyle Williams, Mike Huddy. Welcome to our show.
The fucking iPhone's a legend, I heard.
The iPhone
Hey,
legend.
we checked the box. It's suitable for children. I actually had to do that the other day when I was messing with the settings for Good Morning NASDAQ, and I sat there for like a solid minute trying to decide which box to click.
Yeah,
I want to click the
children,
one
not
that
children.
says for children or for not children. I think I went with not children.
I've
just
always.
because we got 2 loose cannons over here.
Who are the loose cannons?
If you
My
can't figure
question.
that out,
You're one of them.
Who, Huddy and I?
if you don't know who the fish is, you are the one.
Oh no.
It's definitely Huddy too.
I had a feeling.
I do the same though, Don. Whenever I post YouTube videos for what's it called, for my own, like the Kyle Williams YouTube channel, I'll do not for kids. Not because I say any cuss words, but because it just like what kid is trading. I mean, yeah, there's some, but like, even if you're trading, you need a parent permission to trade it in a brokerage account. You know, if you're under 18. So
What
like,
kind of trouble can you get in with that?
I don't know. I think it's just against like I don't think it's the law. It's just some SEC
I don't know.
rule
I think
or
it's.
federal rule. Like you
I
just
get.
need-
Yeah, I'm guessing. I'm
need, like,
guessing it's just
parent
like you
permission.
said it was kid friendly, and my kid was listening, and it wasn't. So shame on you. You might just get like slapped by YouTube. It's probably not.
Oh yeah, for us, no big deal. It's for like the kid who's like trading under 18 and it doesn't have his parents' permission. I think that's a little.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what law he's breaking there, but it's some law.
It's a big one.
Yeah. Well, welcome everyone. Let's let everyone know. I imagine our Discord's gonna notify everyone as well. But what are we drinking tonight? Huddy's already taken a sip. Huddy was telling me he's very excited to show me what he's drinking tonight. So let's get
I was
started.
hoping you would go first, though.
Oh, okay. Well, let me do that.
Rose?
Oh, I wish I should get some rosé. I decided to try out the Joshes of the world. Last 2 episodes
Ooh.
we had Josh, but the what do we have? The other white wine. I forgot the name already. Pinot Noir. We had the Josh Pinot Noir. This week we have the Josh Chardonnay. So I've already taken a sip, so I've cheated, but not as good as the Pinot Noir. I will say this one is a little bit bitter, but it's still good overall, but just not as good as the last week.
No, it's a bit sweet, wouldn't you say?
Oh, no. It's not that great, honestly. I'm a little disappointed in
Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
The reason I'm such a great stock trader is because I can identify patterns really well.
Okay.
And knowing that Kyle was going to bring Josh Chardonnay to this Wine Wednesday, I also brought Josh Chardonnay.
Yes!
So Kyle and I are officially drinking the same wine on Wine Wednesday, literally side by side, virtually. Cheers.
Nice. Cheers. Bring it in. So that's why you wanted me to go first. That makes sense. Do you think it's sweet? I don't think it's sweet. Compared to the Pinot Noir, the Pinot Noir is way better, in my opinion.
Well, Pinot Noir is better.
Yeah, Pinot Noir is way better.
This
Yeah.
one's got like a little zap at the end. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it zaps me. I know what you mean.
it's like, oh, okay.
I'm having water today out of Gatorade. My head is pounding. So I don't think
Been
wine is
drinking
the
too
best
much,
solution.
Benji?
None. I don't think it's
You got
because
the big seat?
I've worked 3 days in a row and I don't like sitting there all day. I'm just made for the golf course, out in the wilderness, out in the fresh air, not in front of these corrupting screens.
Why is your head pounding?
This,
Then?
I don't really know why. I'm
Gotcha.
probably just working on stuff on my computer for too much the last few days. But so I don't think wine's a good recipe for that.
That would be very true. I would agree with you there.
Wine's probably the last thing I would do with a headache if I had to go out. I think vodka or White Claws would be the thing I go to. Something cold, not something hot, and that already kind of makes you.
I knew you were a big White Claw fan from the first day I met you.
Really?
At the 2019 conference, we just downed White Claws all day long.
We had to get some for the Airbnb.
When I was kicking the boys in President and Asshole.
Yeah, we talked about that sometime recently.
Yeah, a couple episodes ago. Yeah. All right, Kellogg, show us. What are we drinking?
We got this Yellowtail Merlot.
Very nice. I feel
Yellowtail.
I feel like
tuna.
someone had Yellowtail on the show, at least before. I don't know why
From
Yellowtail rings a
Australia,
bell.
baby.
Because Yellowtail was like my go-to college wine beverage. Like when I was in college, and it was like late night. That was like my go-to wine to have near my bed.
That was it. Yellowtail. All
The
right,
Yellowtail.
nice. Oh, for a second I thought Dom was wearing a SpongeBob shirt, and I was like, "This is awesome," but no, it's Ducks.
No, it's Oregon stuff. Week and a half to the season.
There we go. It's getting started.
So why did you choose Yellowtail, Jack?
To be honest, I chose Yellowtail because my dad brought over a couple bottles of wine when he came last week, and we drank one of the bottles, and this is the one that was left over. So I was like, all right, I'll drink this one.
Nice.
Yeah. My dad.
Which one is
likes
it? The Merlot?
Huh? Yeah, it's the Merlot.
All right. The boys all got
Merlot.
Wednesday.
Well, guys, it is what 3 days. 3 days away from the beginning of our second boot camp. I'm quite excited. Both me and Huddy.
I'll drink to that.
Both me and Huddy are both flying out, I believe, tomorrow. Oh, you are too, Dom. Are you just doing later?
No, I'm flying out Friday morning.
There you go. And Kellogg doesn't fly anywhere. He's just going to drive his way down to Boston.
He just be there.
Yeah, he just lived
I'm
there.
going to do my 51-minute drive, and I'm going to be laughing the whole time
Yep.
while I was flying out to Palm Springs for 7 hours.
That's still half my flight, or probably not even half.
To what? Boston? Dude, to Boston's an hour and a half from
Yeah,
you.
so 51 minutes isn't that much.
Kyle's the
less.
only one, but
Like
I
6
guess
hours?
I feel like we do have some plans, as you guys know, after the boot camp, which we'll have some content for you guys, you listeners. But it's going to be a good week for sure here.
I am ready to do it. I'm ready to see everyone in person. It's been a while. When was it Palm Springs last time we all got together?
Yeah, April.
I think so.
All that
yeah.
reminds me of is my big top loss. So bad times.
Didn't we
Those are
fly
over.
like on the top day or the day after? It was crazy.
It was the day after. It might have even been the day. No, it was the day after.
It was. All I know is that I lost a lot, and then I made it all back. And that trade making it back, I was on a plane, but we drove to Palm Springs, so I don't remember exactly when. I can actually look. Let's
It
look
was
at
on
my.
your flight back.
What's up?
I think it was on your flight back.
Kyle, it was when you were flying to Texas
Yes,
with Kelly's family.
you're
It was
right.
savage. I actually want to talk about that. I've never been able to stream good enough Wi-Fi on a plane to actually see charts Have you guys ever had that problem? Is it just hit or miss?
I think it's hit or miss.
So yeah, I have also had the same thing, and for whatever reason, that flight I was on. So this was on Thursday, the 4th of May, when I was flying. But I was on Alaska, which is what I'm flying tomorrow, and I didn't really intend on trading, but then I saw top like really selling hard, and I was like, crap, this might be dumping. And I realized I need to buy Wi-Fi on the plane ASAP and just see how good it is. It's like $7, $9. I bought it, and it was amazing. I was like, wow, this is actually so good. Like, I'm gonna trade on this.
Really?
Thing. Yeah. There was maybe like 1 or 2 minutes across the multiple hour flight where I was like, okay, the Wi-Fi actually goes out and comes back on. But when it was on, it was like I was at any home on Wi-Fi. It was great.
And what, you made 100K on that trade from the plane?
Yeah, pretty much.
That is insane.
Quite wild. Quite
Get
crazy.
a life, dude.
Yeah.
No, it scares me too, Huddy. I've had Kyle's experience before where I could literally have a movie going and YouTube playing and trading the whole time. And I've also like paid for it and not even have been able to load the broker all the way. Like finally get to like where a chart is. And I was like sitting there like I was expecting to trade. This is not good. I was probably in something. And I'm sitting there like, well, I don't know.
That's when stop losses come in handy.
Yeah, we didn't do that probably.
Yeah, I've definitely tried a couple times. Like early in my career, I'd get on a plane and I'd be like, oh my god, like plane ride for 3 hours. I have the perfect solution. Like let's fire up the station and see what's moving into close. And every time it's like it was just a tease because I'd have it in the lobby of the airport, but then once I'm on the plane, like yeah, the broker wouldn't even build a load. But I've seen a lot of people with success lately.
I want to get. I keep saying, and I've never done it, but I want to get the that like I want to say mobile hotspot. Every phone has a mobile hotspot, but like the I don't want to call it Starlink because that's just for like Tesla / Elon Musk. Like with whatever, like the personal modem that's constantly connected to a satellite wherever I go. You know, so it's like I literally forget personal hotspot. Like I have the Wi-Fi
Yeah.
with me everywhere I go. I'd be interested to see how well that works.
That'd be super useful. It would make road trips really easy.
Yeah, I really would. Yeah, forget having as long as you have a battery source or power source on your laptop, then you don't need to worry about service, you know.
We could just rent an RV and take it across America.
Yeah.
I have one.
Wow. I like this idea that's brewing.
I've always wanted to do that. I've wanted to like for the summer just create like a dope little in the wall setup with a bunch of monitors, like just travel across the country, hit all the national parks, trade when I need to.
Pull
That's
off
a
the side of
dream.
the road.
Can you make me a setup too in that RV?
We can share it.
All right.
There's not that much room.
We'll make it work.
We also have to drive the thing, so we can't have too much loose monitors.
You're gonna bolt them down.
Drive straight.
Alrighty. There's an interesting little kickoff question. What y'all think about this market? What's so funny, guys?
I don't know, because that was like probably the question we were leading into next way or into ourselves anyway. And then someone asked it, so he was right along. Trader Ryan was right along timing there.
So if you guys,
Sorry, go ahead. Do you have something?
I was gonna say, so if you guys don't know, just drop your questions in the chat, and we will get to them as they come. And we see everyone saying what's up, and we're saying what's up to all you guys. And that's all I wanted to say. So Kyle, take it away.
Okay. Yeah, the market is... What's the word? It is not slow, but it also isn't opportunistic, right? Like, so last week was really, really good, by far. Like, last week's the only reason why I'm even slightly green on the month, which is great. But this week... And specifically today, I didn't take a trade, which I think is the first day of the month I have not traded. Even though there probably should be some days I haven't traded either, but today is actually the first day where I was disciplined enough to be like, nope, we're not going to trade anything today.
That's a huge win.
Yeah, I feel great. Like I so
Congrats.
glad. I just didn't. Yeah, thank you.
It's like an alcoholic.
Congrats.
Great
Right.
alcohol.
My name's Kyle, and I didn't take a trade today.
Hey, Kyle.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things I'm watching and moving, but there's just nothing that's like worth me putting my money on the line. So I don't know. We need like a new word for this. So like I like where we're at. I like that things are consolidating. I like that things are moving, because that's really what ultimately leads to opportunities that like get something really going and really exciting for at least my strategy. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of sitting and waiting, you know. I feel like most
Like
of
a
you guys
turtle
feel
on the edge of the ocean.
all right, or a turtle on a log in a lake just sunbathing. I'm just waiting. You know?
I could totally see Kyle's face on a turtle.
I kind of had this epiphany the other day, or maybe it was last night, that like what this market, there's two ways that I experience any type of like anxiety in this market. The first way is when there is an A plus play, and there have been some very good like just technical plays in small cap. When that is there, the anxiety that hits me is okay. This is a great pattern. I gotta put my money where my mouth is and risk a bunch of dollars and size it. And that part always gives me a little bit of anxiety when I am trying to push size, or I want to push size. I freak out in that moment. And the other moment that I experience anxiety is usually a week after that, when there's nothing left to trade and there's nothing I can push money on. And it's a really interesting dynamic that I think has been going on for about a month and a half now. And I kind of said on Good Morning NASDAQ, it's been like this 2-week cadence where we have like the new batch of tickers, where it was like once Carvana finally left our watch list, it was like not 3 days later that NKLA popped up. And then once NKLA was kind of leaving our watch list, it was not like 3 days later that TTOO popped up, right? Whatever it was. So we had like a number of Tupperware was in there as well. So it's like it's been a good cadence of like a week on, a week off. And the week off is like stressful because like you have to come to grits that the thing that's going to make you the most amount of money, the thing that's going to produce good risk reward appetites, I guess is the best way to put it, is not there for like 4 to 6 days to 8 days trading in a row, and then all of a sudden it's there. And so going from on to off is like a developed, I think, disciplinary skill that you get from being in the market for a long time. Because if you go chasing the high, chasing the dragon, like that's kind of what it's been, and like it hasn't really resulted in profitable situations. It's not like 2020, 2021 where you get like some kind of red day and then you're breaking out within another 24 hours.
Right. What about Kellogg? Say it again, honey.
That's just how I view the market right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I tend to agree with you.
What about you, Kellogg? I feel like Kellogg's been, at least, I don't know about today, but yesterday.
He's been trading a lot. He said he was going on some sabbatical and not trading forever, and then that never happened.
Hello?
Yes.
iPhone coming in? Yeah, I think it's the hottest market we've seen all year so far.
Really?
No, I'm absolutely kidding.
Yeah,
what? I'm like, STFU. Like,
no, the main difference for me, coming into this month, and July I took off from direct access brokers, so I had my Cobra and Success Trader account locked for the entire month. Did not place one trade. Unlocked those accounts for this month, and I also wired those accounts down severely, going from multiple six-figure accounts to just 50, 60, 70, 80K. And I came into this month and I just wasn't super aggressive. And having these small accounts makes me, like, making a mistake is much harder. Because if you have a lot of buying power, it's easy to be like, oh, I'm only in 25% of my account. Oh, I'm only in 10% of my account. But when your account's so small, you really think about going all in more methodically. And for me, it's been about like keeping my losses small. Like I've had like literally $500 losses, like $700 losses. Like those type of losses to me were not possible with the account size that I had prior. Like pulling up my sheet today on VCIG, it's been my worst loss since August 11th. And I've made.
How much you lose on it today?
I lost $4,600, and I took two
I was gonna
losses on
say, I
it.
thought you said it was super small.
Yeah, it was. It was about. I lost about $1,500 on it. And then I placed another order at 750 to short, and then it spiked up. Got my order, and then it continued to break the highs, and I had to cut my loss. But then I ended up fading to the fives and after hours. So my idea was right, just wrong timing. Anyway, so like looking at my losses: negative 1,500, negative 4K, negative 2,500, negative 200, negative 2,800, negative 3,200, negative 4K, negative 500, negative 1,000, negative 500, negative 4,600. Um, and even with when I took the big loss on WE, it was like multiple accounts losing like 8, 9K. Just so that with these small accounts, it's just hard to lose a lot of money, and you have a lot more time to think about it. So, with that being said, my entire point of this conversation is it's harder to get off your game. Um, and then when the right trade's there, it feels like you can make like 20, 30K. I'm not making like crazy money. I'm making like 15K here, 20K there, 30K there. Um, and it's adding up. Like it's really adding up. This month now I'm up 150K. And like I said, like my biggest losses have been like 8, 9K. And yeah. So
Well,
that's my
it's
little spiel there.
well, right. It's nothing. Well, this is. I know you're going to be mad at me, Kellogg, but this is nothing. It's not crazy for you in terms of number wise, but almost I would imagine if like you're a viewer who's not making that much money, because clearly most people aren't, it's almost like ratio, right? It's all relative. So like for you that's not a lot, but that would be the equivalent of like a newer trader saying having a really good first start of the year and then sizing down and making $150, $200, and then only losing 40 or 50, and then being able to say I'm up, $1,500. Just the way like you're up 150, they're up 1,500, and the ratios are the same because they size down,
No,
and you side
exactly
down.
right. Exactly right.
Because it does add up totally. Like even last week, being as busy as it was, I definitely felt like I wasn't as aggressive as I normally would have been had I been a bit in a better space, had I not been red on the month. Because once I was red on the month from a couple of big losses, I was like, yeah, we need to scale back a bit. Like I need to just take a chill pill. Like August has never been a good month for me. Q3, frankly, has never been a good quarter for me most years. And so when I look at my month and I look at last week, I'm like, man, I did really, really well, and it brought me back just barely break even, up a couple grand. But I can't help but imagine had I not been in a more, I don't want to say relaxed state, but just again on not pedal on the gas, I probably would have been a much more aggressive and made a lot more. But like you said, even how good the opportunities were, it still got me to be green because I was just taking it easy. It was a very stress-free, eventful, packed week last week, and that felt pretty good for sure.
It feels good, man. Nobody likes losing. I mean, I don't like losing 50, 60, 70, 80, 100K, 150K. And that's what it felt like when my accounts were bigger. It was so easy to lose 50K. Like I could blink, I'm down to 50K.
Right.
Whereas now, like I have to be all in, like fucking 4 accounts to lose that kind of money. So it's like, if I'm down that much, I'm really just being like, I would have to lose like an insane percentage because you have to think of things in terms of like percentage. If you make $100,000 and you have 100K and you're only trading with like 30K, if you lose 30%, you're going to be down 9K all in. But if you lose 30% on 100K, you're down 30K, which is that entire account.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it makes me think of a topic that I'm gonna speak on in my speech at the boot camp, relatively to that kind of idea, Jack, about like how much money you actually have in your account being the biggest risk you could possibly take, beyond just stop losses, right? But obviously, we will save that for the speech. Yeah, Parker says a lot of junk running in comparison to TUP, TTO, NKLA, kind of like what Huddy was saying. Yeah, it's like there's a lot running, there's a lot of stuff moving, but maybe not as much actually happening in terms of playable. I mean, again, some trader who doesn't play any setups that we're talking about or watch, maybe killing it, right? But things that we watch or things that we specifically look for, we're not perfectly, not doesn't have to be perfect, but we're not very specifically seeing it,
Like, the fact that you can isolate and identify those three trades as stand out-ish from the rest of the pack of stocks that you've seen in the past month really is like a good nod to just the overall market environment. Like, of course, every day there's going to be something to trade, some kind of gap and crap, some kind of first green day. I mean, there's tons of patterns that are going to come around every single day. But there are a couple that have stood out in the past month and a half, and that's what's really reassuring, that like it's not just like, oh, we had this one great trade on AI and then there's 3 months of quietness. There's three really solid volatile setups for both longs and shorts in the past like 6 weeks. So hopefully that trend continues.
Right. Question here. Do you guys think if someone is unprofitable trading for over a year, shouldn't be giving trading advices? I think just advice.
That reminds me of what's his name? Madaz, right?
Oh, is he having a tough time?
He's pretty vocal on Twitter about it. I think I have the name right. And I don't know much about his trading, but he's built a system for himself, and it hasn't been working for about a year and a half now, where he has some consistency, and then a loss will come and like really bite him in the ass, and he'll lose a lot of his hard work. Yeah, very similar to Dom in a lot of senses, and even me at times as well, right? Like with the Chinese liquidation plays, like I've definitely gotten bit on those, and it sets back a lot of good progress. I don't think that negates the knowledge that they have, right? Like I think we were talking about this in a webinar, or maybe it was last week, where it's like once you learn a pattern, like for example the OTC markets, once you learn a pattern and you find a way to have an edge and make money on it, just because that pattern goes away in the short run doesn't mean it's gone forever. And a lot of the principles that you learn from that pattern maybe can be applied somewhere else. So just because someone's having like a year-long rough streak, and again, I mean, risk management's number one. So like a year shouldn't take away 10 years of progress. But if someone's traded for 10 years and has a proven track record for 10 years, that they know their stuff, and then experience 1 year of an odd market and doesn't make money, I think it's happened to all of us to some extent. That doesn't mean that all the information they know doesn't exist. It just means that, maybe they can't execute right, or the game has shifted a bit and they have to adapt. There's a number of reasons, but the knowledge is still there, I believe.
Yeah, when I read that question, I didn't really think of anyone in particular. I thought in terms of, and that's a good point, though. You have to commend Madaz for being very public. I don't follow him, but I do see his tweets every now and then, or hear of them. And it's certainly tough going in through any kind of drawdown or choppy period. But yeah, I agree with that, Huddy. I immediately went to, yes, the experience, but like the track record. Right. So like let's put it this way, like if some trader had been trading for had one good year, the first year of profitability, and then starts trying to, I don't want to say advice, because no one's really giving advice. We're just sharing our experience and our own experiences and education, because no one's telling you to buy or sell anything. Right. That's illegal without actual financial licenses. But it's like, say one trader has a really good year and then, decides to share his education to a community or whoever, and then immediately has a bad year. Well, it's like, he had one good year, and maybe he himself didn't even know how good his edge was over a longer period of time. Versus you compare, I think of like who's the best, like Ray Dalio, one of the biggest hedge fund managers in the world, one of the best track records to ever be around. And if he has one tough year or 2 tough years, does that negate his entire multi-decade experience and track record? Like, I wouldn't say so. I'd still listen. I would still listen to see what Ray Dalio has to say. So it's I think it's taken with a grain of salt to everyone's track record and or situation and all that stuff. And honestly, on top of that, even if you want to take to an extreme extent of listening to someone who is paid, go back to that example of that trader who's only been trading for one good year and then has one good bad year, you almost could argue still learning from them and what not to do. Like if whoever is that confident that they're actually not a good trader, then learn from them and do the opposite. In many ways, I will search cash tags on Twitter. Like if I'm looking at a stock, I don't do this every time, but part of my research, I'll like just cash tag it. I'll search it just to see what the crowd, like what's the consensus, because I know the consensus is probably most likely incorrect And usually if it's a stock I'm looking at short, I get this like crowd mentality of like, this thing's going to $2 million. I'm going to be rich. Like, this is the dip. And it's like down 10% of the day. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. They're all losing money. You know, so I'm getting too, you know, over myself with the explanation here, but that's kind of, you know, when you pick the pieces of everyone individually who you're particularly looking about or thinking about, I think you can ultimately come to a conclusion yourself on that one. So.
The piece of advice that I've always had in life, in terms of perspective, is to think about your journey, not in terms of weeks, months, or years, but like have like a 5-10 year type of result-driven process. Like, okay, 1 year was bad, but what does that really look like in the span of 5 years? And what does that really look like in the span of 10 years, right? I think that's really important to have that big picture idea that like 1 year does not dictate 10 years of progress or 10 years of work.
Right. That's personally,
for me,
or sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I remember how much I learned from Grittani talking about like a 9 or 10 month stretch after he had, I think, made millions, maybe just hundreds of thousands, but where he didn't make any money for like 9 or 10 month stretch. And kind of, you learn so much from people's adversity because as a trader, I don't care if it's a year long, 2 years long, 2 months long, 1 month long, you're going to go through some stretch where you get bit in the butt, you make some horrendous mistakes. Maybe you don't give back all your gains, or maybe you go sideways at the highs, but like you're tested, whether it's a changing market, you know, mistakes on your end. You know, I learned so much from Grittani talking about that because it gave me confidence that you don't have to be perfect. Kind of what Huddy was saying, like it's a long-term thing. Like I intend to trade as long as I possibly can, as long as I'm interested in it. And it's really not possible for me to just be consistent green month for the rest of my career. And so I think you learn a lot from that adversity. I think Patrick David said, you know, you don't want some leader who's like perfect. You want someone who's been through adversity, someone who's been in the dumps, someone who has a lot of willpower, good response to that adversity. So I think listening to those people and learning, not necessarily if you're talking about someone who has never been profitable, or like Kyle said, just once in a blue moon was profitable, but people who go through struggles and figure out their way out of it, those people are generally a lot more powerful, a lot more dangerous than those who've never really been tested. So I do think those people's not necessarily advice, but they can be helpful because you're most likely going to go through something like that at some point in life, not just trading.
Right. And I was going to say, both Huddy's and your idea down there, but maybe kind of combine them both into one. What Huddy was saying, that's why I love having and constantly updating my overall P&L curve, like my overall profitability, because I love to remind myself, like even if I'm going through maybe a hard patch, or like this month, like halfway through August, I was down like 50 grand, right? Not at all a career-ending month, but emotionally, I'm feeling like, wow, this really sucks, you know? But then I pull back the curtain and I look back at the last 7 years, and here's my chart, you know, or, you know, straight from bottom left to top right. And then here's my August. It's like, here's my chart, and then here's August. Like you barely even notice it, and I have to like physically look at that to remind myself like this is nothing, you know.
And I literally was doing the same thing the other day, because, and I don't know if that comment's directed at me or not, but I have had a rough 2023, like literally break even. And I was looking at my profit curve, and if you just erase the timeline underneath, you'd be damn happy with the results of that curve with the money next to it. So I do think sometimes we get too caught up in what have you done this year, because like I think my struggle started at the end of last year, but I still made over $500,000 last year, and so the year looked fine, right? But there was a lot of problems in there that I needed to learn from that I didn't, that took their way into 2023. But at the end of the day, if you're just looking at someone's curve, erase the bottom, and you know that trend over time is what you want to see continue to grow, not necessarily how did I do this year, but how did I do over, like Huddy said, you know, I think like decades, 5-year spans, right. Longer time frames.
And I think before we move on here, the last thing I wanted to say, Dom, is that for accuracy, that Tim Grittani, I think I'm pretty sure on this. He was around up 2 to 3 million in that range.
Okay.
Where he went through that, call it 10 to 13 month stretch of where he would just uptrend and then big loss, like 3 in a row or something like that. Where then he finally got out of that.
And now look where he be at now.
Yeah, now he's up 10 million more than after that. So
and he you know, that's like basically trading tickers one time frame. You know, you look at the trader in there and who he is now, like look how much he's grown and from those losses from that period of time.
Right.
Like he's a totally different, way more advanced trader now.
Yeah. Almost completely different. Like he had an algo trade for him for a good amount of time.
Literally.
You know. Do you guys have any goals outside of trading and education? Starting a business of anything else? I feel it's a good way to stay busy / prevent over trading, or maybe not even over trading, but just escape yourself from the market a little bit. I know Kellogg, you have, if you want to talk about it, but I don't know about Hadi or Dom if you guys have other select
Kellogg will
hobbies.
do anything that anyone tells him to do, just something different and fun. You want 10K? I'll invest. I'll do something fun.
Hello?
Oh my God. Oh, I have such a good idea for us, by the way. Just
Okay.
thought of it.
Yeah.
Jack Kellogg start, and then we'll hear what he has to say.
I've been working on this since 2022, where I started to realize, wow, I have a lot of cash, and I don't necessarily need to have all that in my trading account, and I don't need to use all that cash to make money, and put myself at risk to lose it because these stocks are very volatile, as you all know. So I looked into different methods to grow my cash. And in 2022, I was very naive. So I just started buying stocks in like March of 2022, I think. And then I sized up into May and June, which ended up being pretty close to the bottom. And I just was using like way too much size because I was just used to using huge position sizes. And the market had a massive rebound from June to August. And my portfolio of stocks that I bought went up like crazy. And then I watched it all disappear again when the market made new lows. And then I ended up having to take major losses on a lot of the stocks that I bought. So it was just like this very volatile thing. And I learned when investing, you need to use very small size because if you're willing to, it's just the same thing as swing trading. It's the same lesson. If you're going to swing trade, you need to use small size, wide risk, really willing to lose it all. So coming into this year, I diversified a little bit into bonds, into life insurance. I've been doing a couple of real estate things. Been growing, obviously, the Clover business, having another job that I get paid, and just doing a lot of little things that is adding up at the end of each month. And it definitely helps take the stress off of trading and makes me feel okay trading small size because I know my money's working for me elsewhere.
I like that. Love that.
Very nice.
Huddy?
Yeah, the book that I read is The Richest Man in Babylon, and it talks a lot about having your gold work for you while you sleep. So it's not just about like making money, it's also about deploying and allocating your resources, Economy 101. That's really important. And that's awesome to hear that Jack's kind of like taking that upon himself because what Jack's done really well is capital appreciation. Like he's made a fuck ton of money. And now it's about like how do we deploy that money? How do we make that money work for me while I sleep? And how do we do it in a safe and measured way where we understand the expected value and understand the return, et cetera. So kudos to you. And I think that's a lifelong pursuit. I feel like there's always going to be more than just trading. There's more than just making 10, 15, 30K at your screen and moving on to the next day and trying to do it again, which is a great way of income, a great way of capital appreciation, but it's not about making money. Making money is a dead end goal. How you use that money is where you can really benefit yourself, others, communities around you, etc. It would be a good thing for society. I mean, it's all about how you use the money. You don't have to do any of that, but how you use the money is really important. And if you're just using it to gamble, that's a problem. Because it does make life easier when you learn how to allocate capital correctly. So yeah, I don't know if I really have any. What I was saying is like I have a business idea that Jack might want to invest in. I have a restaurant idea. I don't know if I can share the specifics live on YouTube because someone might steal it.
It's that good?
I think it's amazing. I think you can try it for a month with a 50K down payment to start up for setup costs, and at the end of the first month, if you're profitable, you can continue, and if you're not, you shut down. And I think that's
So
like
it must not be brick and mortar because I don't know what you're going to get for 1 month of lease or something.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to pull some strings.
Well, you file bankruptcy real quick.
But as far as businesses go, a lot of the reasons that I was really interested in starting Clover is because I really wanted to build a business. I do like interacting with people, problem solving, using my brain to work in different ways, and having other things to do than just stare at charts all day. And so it's a nice, kind of distraction from the market, but still part of the market. And I think it's important to have things that are completely disconnected from the market, like apples to oranges type idea. I did invest in some real estate. I do have some rental property. I have a rental property. That's not really a business. That's more passive in my mind. But I'm always looking for opportunity. And I think that's what traders do really well. We identify trends, we identify opportunities, and we know how to execute when it's time to execute. And I'm always excited to do that in life, but it's really just about finding the right thing, the passion project that I want to do. Like it's not like, oh, I have this really good idea. Like, okay, you can go into this space, and then you look in the mirror and you're like, why am I selling, whatever? Why am I selling this thing? I don't even like selling this thing, right? I just thought it was a good idea in the moment, right? So I think it takes time, passion projects, but most billionaires I know are completely broke until they're like 30s, and then they find their career and their passion projects into their 30s and 40s. So a lot of what I'm doing right now is preserving as much capital I can so that when the time comes to build something else, build some other kind of empire, I have enough capital resource to do so. And that's what I think what day trade allows if you do it from a young age. Like it gives you a huge base to work from, and that's a big asset to have, especially if we're going to have interest rates at 10%.
Totally.
Totally.
I would say I probably lack in this department. Although I will say, starting a business, and most people don't see it this way, at least from the outside in. But yeah, running something like we are, like running Clover, is a lot of work. So in many ways, that is, like Huddy said, a business. I know you guys don't see it, but there's a lot of interaction and coordination behind the scenes of how we want to go about this stuff. So I would say between trading and actually then the business of building a community about trading, right? Clover trading, easily takes up 70-80% of my time, at least during the day, right? Weekends and nights, it's a little more free time that way. But like that takes up a lot. The only other way in terms of maybe not businesses, but just deploying other capital is I definitely want to build out like a dividend style portfolio. Mainly because I'm personally not the biggest fan of real estate. Not that my opinion matters about the real estate market. Like plenty of people make money. It's just not my style. Like it's like forget setups in terms of the stock market. Think about like just like asset classes that people are drawn to. Like me and real estate just don't vibe, like at all. It doesn't mean I won't own it eventually. Like of course I'll own a home and maybe a rental property or two down the line, but certainly not something that I've always been drawn to. So that's not something I immediately think about going to when I want to build something else. But I do love the idea of dividends because that is kind of another, call it form of passive income that is definitely going to be uncorrelated with my trading. Yes, it unfortunately will be correlated with the market to some degree, but it will not be a day-to-day thing. How well did you trade? It'll be like, oh, once a month, once every 3 months, I get some kind of payment for owning a simple stock. But obviously be more diverse. It'd be own 10, 20 of them and hopefully have a very multi-six, maybe even 7-figure portfolio. That would be very nice and beneficial. So.
Very nice. Yeah, for me, I kind of lack in this department too, but I agree with you on Clover. We had Huddy and Dom before that stock therapy. So we're giving her a third 3 strikes and you're out try here. But that takes up a lot of time. I tried to buy a car wash a few years ago. I was pretty excited about that. Was trying to do that type of thing, diversifying. Well. Yeah, it was a self-service one around here. They do really well. A lot of RVs, boats. People wash their cars a lot out here in the boonies. But ended up not working out, and then I kind of stopped trying to find something like that because I did think that one was a really good opportunity. I have a couple things in the work that once we get back from Boston, I'm going to commit a lot more time to. But those are secrets for me. I also don't have too much of an interest in real estate. I'd like to have a storage unit, like a whole storage unit place. There's a lot around here, and I'd really like to own one for low overhead, and I'd like to own a parking lot one day. That's a dream.
It's funny you're mentioning all these things. I literally saw a video today of like very profitable, low cost I call them businesses, but they're just very like clever things to own. It was like it literally was self washing car washes, laundromats, parking lots, and like vending machines. Those were like the 4 or 5.
Yeah, a while back when I didn't have any money, there was a parking lot in Detroit. Detroit's kind of been on this upswing where it's kind of getting a lot more. Used to be pretty bad in terms of danger and such. It's starting to get a lot better. A lot more people are moving down there.
Still bad.
It's not still bad. It's not that bad. Walking down the street at night, you feel a lot more safe. But there was these parking lots that I knew because there's so many sports and stuff down there, concerts and everything. It was at such a good price, and I was like, if you buy this, I'll bet you can make a ton of money one day. And just recently, my buddy sent me like that parking lot had sold for some millions and millions for them to build some high rise on, and I'm like,
wow.
I was right.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities out there.
One day that's something I got to think about as well. But for now, we trade.
For now we move money among stocks.
Yeah, I just think that growing money is just like fascinating. Like it's a fun game. Not even for like the money. Like I don't know. Like if I make more money, it's not really going to change my lifestyle as of like right now. But I just like enjoy the game of investing or trading or whatever it is because it keeps my mind entertained, I guess.
Well, you're playing Monopoly.
Sometimes...
You're playing Monopoly in real life.
That's because you've already passed go enough.
I love Monopoly, man. I love Monopoly. So it's fun. It's very fun. And new things are fun to learn about too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just one cool thing too is I'm just completing my first real estate flip. Excited to see it get listed up on Zillow and
in Tennessee.
Yep, in the Tennessee one. It's literally about to be done like tomorrow. So we're gonna get that shit up on the market, and just really exciting to see see it progress and actually feel like you're adding to the community instead of buying some shitty ass penny stock and selling it into dumber people who are buying higher than you.
I mean, well, are you talking about stocks or real estate? Because it sounds like the same thing.
No, because with the flips, like you're making the world a better place. I feel like.
I mean, you're renovating a property for sure, but you're still definitely selling to somebody who's willing to profit off your or willing to give you a profit for your work. Which again, you're adding that value to that house. So it's definitely.
I'm not adding any value buying Mullen in the world right now.
That's you'd be correct. I would.
Yeah. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever felt that way when you're shorting something like the Chinese pumps that actually worked last year and got hammered 90% in a day? Like you're actually selling into someone's buy order. Who knows how much?
Yeah, it makes me. I feel really bad, to be honest.
Like I got a soft spot for like I don't know. Sometimes this game just feels really silly. So
the doggy
something
dog
more
world.
Tangible feels better.
I will say that like owning a scanner, like having E-Trade, like there are thousands of people employed to have to, work to your service, right? Like between a scanner, which you pay for, which an E-Trade account, which you pay for, a Clover account, direct access broker, whatever it is, like people are employed and the economy machine keeps running because we trade stocks. So there is an added benefit there, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's a way to keep it positive for sure.
Yeah, right. All right, let's move on. Here's an interesting one I'd like to hear like Kyle's perspective on maybe Huddy's. How do you guys see the election year affecting the market? Seems like it always brings volatility. What do you think the next hot sector could be?
Fucking crazy.
Why you gotta say maybe Huddy's?
Because sometimes you know a lot about the world. Other times you're like, I got a business idea. Let's make a pizza parlor.
It's not a pizza parlor. It's better than that.
Okay.
What
do we think?
First.
I thought you said Huddy would be a good answer because I've heard him talk about this already. I've heard this answer from him probably like 3 or 4 times, about the election,
Give her a go, Huddy.
One more time.
How's the election year, do you think, gonna affect the markets? Let me read it better again. Maybe even more like small caps.
I've been excited for the election year. I think it's been my general observation, not backed by statistical evidence, that election years perform better than non-election years. Like they're usually like really nice volatile years of action. Just think about when Trump was getting elected, and I think it was like before that, in like 2016. I think it was very volatile as well. So yeah, I think there's going to be some volatility into the election year. I think there's going to be positions to put yourself in depending on which presidential election, presidential elect you think will go into office. I think that changes the paradigm for things. I know marijuana habitually gets a bit volatile into big legislative moves, which could be around election time. That's when, we saw California and Washington legalize at one point. We saw Phoenix and them and Michigan and all those legalize at one point, and Canada legalized. So if marijuana is on the ballot, there could be something interesting in that sector. I just find, for whatever reason, election years bring in speculation and volatility. If Trump's getting elected, I'm sure you're going to have a big kind of Wall Street bets presence based off that. So it's probably going to provide a new dynamic and something that you should be able to adapt to. I can't say for sure what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be probably more volatile than most years. That's just historically what election years are. And that is based off statistical evidence. I just didn't do it myself. I read it on Twitter somewhere.
That's my favorite type.
That's my favorite type of research.
Yeah, I can't talk to the specifics, but I listen to the smart people that I trust, and
but I've also
this is what they say.
experienced it. Is what I'm trying to say. I've also
No, I understand. I actually am agreeing with you, Huddy.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's a first.
I know. And see how nicely I said it versus you in the webinar. I couldn't disagree more. Is what you said today.
I hated this dog.
From a different perspective, without any real knowledge about any of this, kind of what you said about, I just think there's a lot more talking in that time of year. People are making a lot of promises. They're talking about what they're going to do with interest rates or inflation or the economy, and all of that people play off of, right? Like, so different companies and stuff will try to PR and boost themselves if people are talking about, attacking big pharma or giving more money to big pharma. And so I feel like there's just so much talking going on that just creates natural volatility, because people, like Huddy said, use that time to try to get their stocks moving, create that volatility. And you're obviously going to have volatility in the big companies, the real big ones. And that probably, I'd be shocked not to see AI be more pop back up next year too. If marijuana got hot,
kind of popped up today.
Oh yeah, I saw that NVIDIA earnings, or what was
have another AI run.
NVIDIA's over 500. It's crazy. The only thing I don't like about AI is that it's been predominantly mid cap and large cap, which again, all great. But for the small caps, I feel like we've definitely gotten the small end of the stick in terms of how great sector momentum can be that we've seen in the past with other sectors, right? Not saying it's bad at all. I will take any sector momentum, but in terms of how good I know it can be, I definitely think AI is.
And OTC's been shit.
Yeah, that too. We've gotten the short end of the stick in terms of sector momentums when it comes to AI, but doesn't mean we can't trade large caps if they go nuts, but it's not preferred. So,
freaking Drunken Miller's up $300 million.
Nice on AI
Or
on NVIDIA. NVIDIA, yeah.
He has 905,000 shares.
Wow.
Lucas made a tweet about it today.
Very impressive.
That's so good.
But yeah, I don't have any comments on the election. I agree with everything everyone said. And ultimately, I don't really... I look at it in some cases like if you just are able to adapt well to whatever market environment you're given, whether it's election year or not, you're going to be prepared to capture a volatility. So if it happens, great. If it doesn't, oh well. So let's see.
It will come eventually.
Yeah. So there was a question earlier that I think was really good. To follow on all of your footsteps, grow an account to $1 million. Is it best to necessarily get over PET rule? I guess it takes longer to reach that goal if I've not met the BET. Yes. So, it makes me think, is it even possible to technically hit $1 million in profits with a account under PET?
You'd have to just get it to 25 and then never go over it. Every time you go over it, you got to keep pulling out to 24 or something.
Yeah, because 25 could fit into $1 million. What is that? 40 times? So, you'd really be crossing the PDT numerous times. And for someone who's been below the PDT and over the PDT, you're going to want to be over the PDT. For sure. Like there's just, if you create a strategy for yourself that's going to give you the ability to make that kind of money over a relatively short period of time, and by relatively short, I mean over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I know it doesn't sound like a short time, but relatively speaking, being able to make $1 million in that amount of time frame is quite good. It puts you in the upper end of income earners per year, right? If you have a great strategy that can create that kind of income for you, you're going to want to be over PDT. Yeah. Because you're going to be given opportunities that are going to be more frequent than 3 times a week. And if you're not, you're just not, it's going to be much slower. So like theoretically, I have nothing to say that it can't be possible. But my gosh, you're going to have to be having some insane percent returns on that account to then wire it out immediately under PT every single day. And then have opportunities to do that repeatedly over and over again to get there. Either that or you either that or you have in this very unrealistic theoretical example, you have a $24,000 account, you buy, I don't know, some stock at $1, it goes to 50, and you just made your $1 million right there, which is again like a lottery ticket. So that's my thoughts on that.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, so you're saying there's a chance.
I think that you answer that for everyone.
Cool. Let's see. A lot of good comments about the other businesses that are potentially out there.
People are into the restaurant idea.
What's up?
Is that what you read?
That's what I read.
I think I saw someone say I like pizza.
That's all I needed to hear. We're full on go. Jack's gonna lend me the money. It's gonna be great.
All right, I'm in.
All right.
What's the projected returns?
Can I just be the manager?
I think the projected returns are astronomical.
Very nice. Okay, last couple questions here. I see one. Kyle, why don't you size up more? You have one of the more consistent charts I've seen from a trader. Great question.
How is Kyle not sized up?
Oh, thank you. No.
I feel like Kyle has sized up incrementally every little while.
Yeah, so yes and no here. My sizing up has changed. And what I mean by that is that if I'm given an A+++ setup, that sizing up will typically has always increased. Where if I know that the risk is on the game, the dogs have been let loose. Let's say I'm given one of the top blessed plays I know I'm going to get all year long because I've just recognized it so many times. Absolutely, I size up. I'm willing to lose 10, 20, 30, 40 grand like that. Like I'm like, yep, this is worth it. But from a day-to-day, trade-to-trade mentality, I have somewhat struggled, but also justifiably have kept myself here for a reason of only really wanting to lose 4 to 5K. Because if I ever lose more than that on a trade that I just know it doesn't deserve it, I'm like, you're losing, and I take a loss on it, I'm like, this wasn't deserving of that kind of loss. It's just not worth it. On top of that, it comes to the point, again, I'm going to talk about this in my speech at the boot camp. It comes to a point where it's like, well, how much money do you really want in your account? Because again, for me to size up, I theoretically am going to need more money in my accounts to justify that sizing up. And I don't want to be the trader to have $5 million in my trading account and no money anywhere else. That's silly. That's the quickest way to give it all back with one god awful, black swan scenario. Even with max stop, like you might think max stop helps you, which it absolutely does. Don't get me wrong. That's why I've been much safer this year. But like, there's absolute scenarios where that doesn't matter, and you just lose way more than you thought. And so again, part of being a bigger risk beyond that is just putting money elsewhere, right? Like Kellogg is significantly de-risking himself this year by throwing a ton of money at literally anything else but trading. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. And again, maybe I will. Like in my brain, I envision like, yeah, eventually I'd want to size up and make more. But not until after I've built out a bunch of, like I've built out the dividend portfolio. Maybe I own a house or two. Maybe I have another business that makes money. Like until I've diversified well enough where I know I can not trade anymore and be okay with the income that's being created for me, I don't see any reason why I should be sizing up more in trading, knowing the risks of how aggressive you can get and how dangerous that can get with that level of aggression, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah, but I think that's the sweet spot, Kyle. Like, and I don't think anyone should do this, but like where I see traders really excel, like the good traders, and it's not me, and I don't do this. So, but where if you can risk 4 to 5K on average trade and then have the tenacity to go after a 40K type of risk tolerance on an A plus, I think that is what separates like the best traders from the rest of the pack. It's like you can clearly identify, okay, you know, big risk on trades, like losing 4 to 5K on a trade. Like I know it's just a number on a screen. But at the end of the day, like that is $4,000 to $5,000, but you understand the risk reward profiles. And when the setup really calls for excessive risk because your odds or your win rate or your reward properties are so great that it's worth it, acknowledge that and also hit the button, that's where you go from great to excellent in trading. So it's like how much more do you really need? Like when Kyle puts down 40K, like he's either losing 40K or making a 6-figure profit in a lot of scenarios. So it's at what point what more do you need? I mean, do you really want to risk 500K to make a mill? Like, is that necessary? And are those really your goals in life? Like, does Kyle want to become a billionaire? Or does he want to pay his rent, pet his dog, live a happy life?
Right.
It's just about what you put in and what you get out.
Yeah. That's a good point too. At some point, I'd have to literally change my strategy because there's just not enough opportunities in the small cap land that we trade for me to take that scenario, like Huddy said, of like literally risking $500,000 to make 1.5, 1.2 in a single play. Like you're just not going to get that on a daily, even a monthly basis. Maybe a couple times a year, you're going to get that kind of liquidity. Beyond just the fact of even willing to accept that kind of a risk, which is why I know a lot of traders who maybe have just mastered or crushed the small cap world end up having to lean into something like a large cap or a mid cap kind of strategy or altercation to it, because that's where much more liquidity is actually at. So, all right, well, we are over an hour here. Let's speed around like one or two more questions. All right, what is your average winner hold time on a day trade? I would say an hour or two for me. Dom, you're muted.
For me, it's I would say hour or two, or overnight.
Yeah, which could be a few hours, obviously.
You can hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I was just looking at the stat actually on my Kinfo for my whole career, and it wasn't separated by swing and day trade, I don't think, but it did say my average winner was 20 hours, so I'm guessing I make more when I swing. Really only first red days and first green days, probably an hour, hour and a half. If it's a day trade.
It's an interesting question because a lot of the times when we're entering positions, we're like shorting a breakdown move, covering like a big wash, and then reshorting some kind of bounce to amplify the risk reward, right? So there might be more than one distinct trade within one overarching trade. But I would say generally, like if I'm taking a big picture daily chart setup, the bare minimum amount of time that I'm probably going to be in the trade if my risk isn't broken is 45 minutes. If it's a big picture chart setup, I'm at least giving it 45 minutes to develop some kind of price action to give me an idea if I like it or not. And that differs, and that goes for the same as like if I'm swinging it overnight, I'm probably giving myself like, some time to figure out if I like the price action and then taking it overnight. There is a distinction that I make when I'm scalping, and there are times that I scalp if I'm going after like a parabolic short or panic dip buy type of idea. Like those trades, given their setup, is like arguably going to be shortened, like 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. But oftentimes before I get into the trade, I will, in my mind, tell myself that it's either a big picture setup or a scalp trade. And I'm either trying to like scalp it back down to a key level, or I'm trying to short it for a daily unwind type of idea. And those two things differ.
Got it. Is interactive brokers good for trading OTCs? Yes and no. It's okay. Fills are not great. Borrows are okay. But I definitely used them for a very long time when I was under BDT. So I can't say they're bad because I definitely grew an account quite significantly with them in the earlier years.
I hated their two-factor authentication system.
I didn't like their platform, but they always had free borrows.
Yeah, that's the plus. They have free borrows if you can find.
But that system, learning how to do that was so much different than the other ones.
Yeah, they've got a different thinker or trader workstation, a little different there. Gosh, there's 2 more questions here that are really good, but they definitely would take us another 10, 20 minutes of the broadcast. So Joseph and Kasparas, save those questions for either a webinar, or if you're going to boot camp, ask us there, or save them for next Wine Wednesday, because these are really good questions, but I know we're definitely going to go too far along here. So anyways, guys, thanks so much. Boys, any last words before we close it down?
I had such great answers
Peace,
to those
baby.
questions.
Did Jack literally leave that fast?
Jack left. He's out.
Well, you guys we can't make any promises about Good Morning NASDAQ the next 2 mornings. Huddy will be traveling one of the days and I will be traveling the others. If I can find a compadre to do it with me, I'll try to do one tomorrow. I've talked to Kellogg. He just left, so he probably didn't have to promise to do it. But Friday will most likely be canceled no matter what as we get ready for the boot camp and as we go traveling. So if we're not on Good Morning NASDAQ, that is why. And we'll try to make a tweet for 100% certainty in the coming hours and day.
Can you guys put some W's in the chat for Good Morning NASDAQ? I mean, Dom, waking up every morning, running the stream, getting you guys the Gapper news, the Gapper tickers, giving you guys a good laugh before market opens.
I do what I can. I try to contribute. I know my role.
You're a good Kyle Kuzma.
That's it.
Yeah, what?
Kyle Kuzma's a role player.
How about like a Steve Nash?
Yeah, someone give us some
Nash is
pizzazz.
more of an all-star.
Well, all right, everybody. There's the W's. Thanks so much, everybody. If you're at the boot camp, we are excited to see you. And other than that, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.